But let's push it right on through. Let's skip all the 70s, the 80s, the 90s till now, and have a special guest who's going to bring us right up to speed. This is Kelly Weis from Sydney, Australia, a traveller, currently living in Vancouver. Hello, Kelly.
Hi, how are you?
Thanks. Regular listeners might remember we had Kelly on a number of months back to, again, slap me upside the head and remind me that there's really great stuff happening right now, and you're going to talk about what you're excited about musically right now.
Yeah, well, I'm excited a lot about a lot of musicians in Australia, but I thought I'd just mention one guy that's actually released his third album. It came out a few months ago. He goes by the name Gautier. His real name is Wally DeBacker, and he's been around for about 10 years. Based in Melbourne. He was originally born in Belgium, but he came to Australia when he was 2, so he's basically Australian. And I remember I got into him personally in 2006 when his second album, Like Drawing Blood, came out. And he became pretty big once that album came out. And the single that he did really well with was called Heart's a Mess, which came number 8 in the Hottest 100 in 2006. And I remember I was actually in Sydney, because Triple J, they do the Hottest 100 countdown live, so you can go and watch it. And
Triple J is... What is it for people who don't know?
Oh, okay. So Triple J is the best radio station in Australia. One of the best in the world, in my opinion. It's an alternative radio station that, rather than being regional like most of the stations, it's actually Australia-wide. It's a national station.
Publicly funded.
Yeah, so you're allowed to swear on air, which is another good thing.
Except for the C word, that's legally mandated as the
Oh yeah,
word.
That's true. Yeah, but you can say whatever you want on there. It's awesome.
Yeah.
Anyway, so I remember when the countdown was on, everyone thought that song was going to come like number 2 or number 1, but it actually came number 8, so it was a bit disappointing, but it still got in the top 10. So
What year was this?
This was 2006.
Oh, okay.
Yeah, and I actually saw him in 2007 at the Falls Festival, which is a 3-day... Yeah, I think it's a 3-day festival over New Year's Eve in like a beautiful setting in the woods in Victoria. And it was actually like 42 degrees when I was there. It was pretty damn hot, yeah. So I thought it would be really good to play a song from his second album, Like Drawing Blood, Heart's a Mess, which came out in 2006, just so you can, if you haven't heard of him, you can just get a good idea of just how good his work is, because this is one of the best songs that he has.
Righto, and then after that, a new track of his?
Yeah, from his new album, I'll play, yeah.
Somebody I Used to Know. Is that... Okay, that was Gautier. Gautier. Sounds like a
it's spelled really weird.
But G-O-Y-T.
No, G-O-T-Y-E.
G-O-T-Y-E.
Yeah.
For folks who really enjoyed that, I was pretty blown away. Like, beautiful songs and really, really cool video clips.
Yeah,
both
really
of those
good.
songs. Yeah,
really artistic.
Yeah.
So a few interesting facts about that single that was just played, Somebody That I Used to Know. It came out in July this year, and it's actually the second single off that album. The first one was Eyes Wide Open, which I actually voted in the Hottest 100, but it didn't do that well. Anyway, so the song that was just played, Somebody That I Used to Know, it was number 27 on the ARIAs when it first came out, and then it was endorsed by Ashton Kutcher and Lily Allen, and then it went 5 times platinum, and all these things started to happen where when his album Making Mirrors came out, it actually went to number 1 the first week it came out, and that single was number 1 as well, which is the first time that's happened since 2002 on the Australian music charts, that an artist has had a single and an album at number 1 at the same time. Silverchair were the last band. And then with the ARIAs, he was actually nominated for 7 ARIAs and won 3 of them already. So just based on that, the Australian...
Record Industry Awards?
Association Awards, yeah. So it's kind of like what would be like a Mercury Music prize if
yeah.
it was if
or
we're
Junos or something like that.
Yeah, it's the Australian equivalent. And that's he got all those nominations just based on that single because the album wasn't eligible. So yeah, it's just done like amazingly well. So that's really, I think he deserves it because he's been around for 10 years and he's awesome.
Cool.
So that's Gautier.
Gautier. And up next, so we're talking with Kelly. Kelly is an Australian music aficionado coming in to fill us in on some of the latest cool sounds.
Yeah, so I thought, it's a Friday, play something a little bit dancey, and an album has come out a few months ago by a really cool band. It's their 4th album. They're called Pinyao, another band that if you see it spelt, you can't say it.
P-N-A-U.
Yeah, in capitals. And if you want to remember how to say it, just think of meow, or you can just go Pinyao. So most people probably haven't heard of them, but once I say what I'm about to say, then you'll know who they are. So it's actually made up of 2 guys from Sydney, Nick Littlemore and Peter Mays, which you still probably won't know who they are until I say Luke Steele was involved in another project that they're part of called Empire of the Sun. So Empire of the Sun is Nick Littlemore, Luke Steele on vocals, and then the producer is Peter Mays. So that's how that is associated. So these guys have been around for 11 years, and I first got into them in 2007 when their self-titled album Pinyao came out, and they released a song. There was quite a few good songs and singles off that album, but a song that wasn't a single is called With You Forever that I want to play. And basically Nick Littlemore and Peter Mays, so Pinyao, they sent a few tracks to their friend Luke Steele from the Sleepy Jackson, and then he sent this song back with his vocals. So With You Forever, you could almost say it's Empire of the Sun because it's the exact same guys and the same vocalist, but they released it under Pinyao. And because it did so well, they're like, hey, well, why don't we form another band? And then that's how Empire of the Sun started.
Oh, interesting.
Based on that song doing really well. And then they continued with Luke Steele on the vocals, and obviously Sleepy Jackson is a bit more of a rock kind of alternative band, whereas Pinyao's electronic and Empire of the Sun's electronic. So that's kind of how that influence came.
Righto.
So, so that's off their album from 2007, With You Forever. And I remember I saw them live in 2008 at the Big Day Out, which is one of the longest running festivals in Australia. Happens every January. And they had this song, which I don't really like, I think it's a bit tacky, called Wild Strawberries. And they had a competition on Triple J that you could, win some competition and you could dress as a strawberry mascot. So, you get this massive strawberry outfit and then you go on stage with them on the Big Day Out and you jump around as a strawberry. And I remember I was out, seeing, I think, the Streets or someone, and then I was like, okay, I have to see Pinyao. And I walked in, it's called the Boiler Room, which is where all the electronic music plays. I walked in and just as I got in, there was strawberries jumping up and down and the song goes, wow, strawberries. It's really crazy. So I just remember when I saw them, that was like the beginning, and it was pretty entertaining.
Oh, it could be fun.
Yeah. And then should I talk about the next song now or afterwards?
On Stranded with Kelly, a special guest, talking about some of her favourite Australian music, and we're about to play Pinyao. Pinyao featuring Luke Steele from Empire of the Sun.
Well, from Sleepy Jackson.
Sleepy Jackson, and now currently Empire of the Sun.
Yeah.
Right? Yeah. Okay, so this track is called With You Forever, and then after that we're going to hear
The Truth, which is off their latest album, which I'll talk about later.
Okay. All right, so this is Pinyao.
Pinyao.
Okay, so we're back with Stranded and newer music here. Well, pretty new. That was Pinyao with a song called The Truth, which is just released, right? They just released
their 4th album called Soft Universe, which came out a few months ago. And actually, a bit of an interesting story is when their 3rd album, which was a self-titled Pinyao that had With You Forever, which we just played, when that came out, randomly, Elton John heard it and said he declared it the greatest record he heard in 10 years.
Wow.
So then Nick Littlemore, who seems to be quite the active member of the band, he went to wherever Elton John lives. Sorry, I'm not sure where.
England somewhere?
England, America, God knows where. Anyway, he actually went and started the album that just came out, Soft Universe, was actually written with Elton John as well, co-written, both of them. So when Empire of the Sun in 2009 became really big, they started touring, and I don't know if people heard this, but Luke Still said that Nick Littlemore had disappeared, and he wasn't actually touring. It just became like just Luke Still kind of touring around.
Yeah.
And it turns out that he was actually working with Elton John on the fourth Pinyao album.
Ah, interesting.
So yeah, all the songs on there have got an influence to do with Elton John, and they're also a little bit based on that Nick Littlemore just came out of a breakup, so that influenced it as well.
All right, so this is guest Kelly Weis talking about some of her favourite music. So Pinyao, we heard two tracks, and the first track was an older one that was called
With You Forever.
So if you like that, Pnau.
Pinyao, like
Pinyao,
meow, but better.
Yeah, music from Australia, and it's about time now to press on and get into Canadian music. And of course, Kelly's been living here for a while, and like myself, absorbing the musical tidbits and treats around her. City and Colour, you're a big fan of this band.
Yeah, they're actually coming to Vancouver in January. I'm not sure what the exact date is, but yeah, so City and Colour is actually Dallas Green. So City being Dallas, Green being a colour. And he's actually part of Alexis on Fire. So he's actually quite a well-known Canadian guy. He's from, I'm not sure where he's from, somewhere on the east. I don't know if it's the East Coast or just not BC. He could be from Alberta or somewhere like that. And this guy, he's one of my favourite artists at the moment. So, and his song Fragile Bird, that's actually the first single off the album called Little Hell, has gotten really big airplay, and it's done really well.
Okay, and the album's here and the CiTR playlist, so let's play a couple of tracks that you had selected. Yeah,
so I selected Fragile Bird. As I said, it's the first single off the album.
Yeah.
The other single off the album is called Natural Disaster, which I've chosen not to play just because I prefer a different song on the album called Oh Sister. It's a little bit depressing, but I think it's still pretty awesome. So yeah, Fragile Bird and then Oh Sister.
Okay, and this is Stranded, the Australian Canadian Music Show, and just wrapping up our visit here from Kelly, Australian traveller, expat, music lover. Thanks for playing those Australian tracks and one of your favourite Canadian bands.
Yeah, thanks for letting me play. I love to share the music that I enjoy with everyone.
As do I. It's the reason this show exists, and why people do join in this wonderful community of CiTR. So thanks for coming.